Oh, Fitzroy. What's up, everybody? All right. Kaylani, how you doing today? It's 8 o'clock where you're at. Where in the world are you?
I'm in Montenegro.
Montenegro.
Yep.
Okay. So, where is that? My geography isn't as good as it used to be.
Yeah, maybe you're a little better than you thought.
Southeastern Europe?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
What are the,
Southeastern Europe. It's kind of by Albania, close to Greece,
mm,
east of Italy. So,
so lots of good
I-
Turkish food?
you would think that, but that's not true.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know. I actually thought a lot of the food here would be, more Mediterranean or Turkish or like Northern African influenced as well, but it's not. It's actually very Eastern European. So, um, yeah, but we live on the ocean, which is pretty cool.
That's nice. So,
I know.
are you in a small village at this point? Town? City?
So it's like a small, I guess you would call it a town. It's Tivat,
Okay.
which might actually be the capital, even though it's not that big. But it's it's actually a very tourist. Actually, the whole country is very, very tourism driven, being on
Really?
the ocean. So, yeah, actually, so I've been here for a month, a little over a month now, and there was hardly anyone in April. And it was cold and often raining, but now that it's starting to warm up, and May and June are really high tourist season. So now, a lot of things are opening and a lot more people are around because a lot of it is driven by tourism. So
Wow. Oh, yeah, that's really so you're a traveling nomad. I've read that in your description. Or
yep.
description. You talk about yourself when I've heard you talking. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky that a lot of my work is remote, and so I work for a tech startup in the States in the healthcare industry, and so I'm able to do that, and I just travel to a number of different countries, and then I typically live somewhere between like 1 month to 3 months. And then mostly in the summers. I don't know about the summer, but I travel in the States as well just to like visit my friends and I don't know, do cool things there too. So, yeah,
Awesome. What did the Nomad Life pick you or did you pick the Nomad Life?
good question. Um, I would say the no I never imagined that I would be a nomad.
Hmm.
But I also I do a number of things. So, I work with a school that we teach entrepreneurship and computer programming and a few other things. And so I a lot of my traveling is with them actually. And I the position was offered to me. It was I was like, wow, like I can get paid to work with students and travel. And then, like I mentioned, I have this other tech job in the States as well. So I do two things, but it's really worked out.
All right, before my next question, because this is just fun. This whole point of the happy hour is just to hang out. If you want to request to speak, I don't care how many people we have up here. We're here to have a conversation. So I can't do it manually, but if you request, I can just bring you up on stage, no problem. So, Dr. Suss, good to see you. Good to have you here. Zane, also great to see you again. All right, Kaylani, you've now mentioned you have about 3 jobs. I
I
know this.
know it's crazy. It's crazy.
Maybe this is just a Web3 thing, and like we're all just trying to make it somehow. Working. You're all over the place. You're in Bitcoin Monkeys. I've seen you pop up on Byzantium stuff, and you're all over the map. And plus, you're doing that. Plus, you're working for a bunch of other things. So, how many jobs do you have now?
um, yeah, I would consider three, right? So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, I work with students and teach part time. I work for a tech startup part time, and then I some of you guys know that I'm also hoping to kind of launch a project that's affiliated with my book. And so, so yeah, writing, so kind of like managing that, and then also being in the crypto space. That's kind of the other stuff that I'm doing. So yeah, I would say three things. A lot of nomads I know actually. Like one of my best friends, she's also a nomad. And she has like she's a freelancer and she always has a bunch of crazy jobs. So maybe it just comes with the lifestyle.
Maybe it does. I mean, it could just be the era we live in. Also, if you're not in a 9 to 5, you have 14 different side jobs to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. Maybe it's a generational thing we're going through. Boozy, good to see you again. If anybody wants to jump up and hang out, just request to speak and you can come hang. If you just want to listen, that's also awesome. Very cool. Now, Kaylani, I'm not going to brush past the fact that you said you're writing a book. We're going to get there because you can't just drop that on me. Um, I do want to get. How did you get into Web3?
Oh, now that's a good question. So, being kind of in the startup space, and like I said, I also have taught entrepreneurship to our students. Um, I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee. I've been following him for a while, and so
Same.
a little bit, a year and some ago, he started talking about NFTs and Web3, and he launched VFriends, and he's one of the biggest components or proponents for NFTs. And so I started reading just everything that he put out because I was like, wow, like I generally like his philosophy and his positivity. So yeah, just started researching from there. Unfortunately, I had no idea how to set up a MetaMask wallet. I was just kind of like by myself, like looking at this stuff. Like no one else was really interested in Web3 at the time that I knew personally, and so I was like, oh man, like unfortunately I didn't mint the VFriend. I would
I know.
I would be a lot more
Yeah.
or have a lot more in my bank account if I did, but
Well,
um
yeah.
and that but anyway, so
I mean, the thing with Gary Vee is the last time he was wrong about something, he's very public when he's wrong. So it's like
yeah.
he's like, I missed Uber, I missed a couple other things, I made some wrong bets. I didn't go with YouTube. I went with um, his other video one. But again, he was like one of the first people to have a show like that. Like he's rarely wrong. And I know when I listen to his podcast and he's talking about stuff, it's like he does his research, and when he's solid on something, he's like super solid. So when I saw the V Friends, I was like, oh, I so want this. And then I missed it. And now there's no way I'm getting in.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I just like that would be so much fun to go to VCon. And I was talking to somebody. Oh, it was Ileana from the Mentory. She was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be in the States to go to VCon," and I was like, "Well, I am super jealous right
Oh
now." Yes,
yeah.
just the networking alone, I think, would be incredible.
Yeah, and when I was reading the content that how he was describing, the complexity of NFTs and Web3 and all this stuff, and then also seeing, the community that he was building, it made sense to me. I was
Right.
actually confused, still confused. I was like, man, I don't know, like I don't understand how Bitcoin works, or I don't understand, these kind of like token markets, which I don't know. I'm an economist. I'm interested in those things. But that was actually at first very confusing to me. But for some reason, the NFT side of things just kind of made sense. And I was like, okay, like I got to get in.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So you heard Gary Vee, and then you made the plunge. You did go. Did you go to Ethereum first, or how did you find
No,
Stacks?
actually, Stacks was the first. And I just kind of doing some research on different chains. And then I heard some other people talking about Stacks and they had a wallet. And so they actually helped me set one up. And,
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about this with a few people because, there is this little barrier that is intimidating if you are joining the Web3 space, and I felt that too, right? Because I would have probably bought a VFriend if I would have had someone to talk to about it, or at least help me get set up. And someone helped me set up my wallet and showed me the marketplace, and I was like, oh, now I can now I have a starting point. So yeah, I'm passionate about ways. I mean, a lot of people have, there's been talk about this too, and how do we grow stocks? How do we grow people or bring people into the ecosystem? But, sometimes I think it's just as simple as like, okay, like, let me help you get your wallet set up if you're curious.
Yeah, that's something that I guess here at AirDrop we like. I don't know, not focus on. Okay, we focus on it. It's it's NFTs are confusing. How can we make them not confusing? And what does like hold your hand through this process? Because it takes a while to get in, and it can be kind of intimidating. But and that setting up a wallet is a huge hurdle. And I've heard Levi of All Nations talk about this. Right, you can have a giant following in Web 2. Porting them over into Web 3 is much harder just because of the wallet situation.
Yeah.
But once we kind of figure it out, like I've tried to onboard some friends and they're like, wow, this is the first time I felt old with technology. And I was like, it's not, you're fine. Like just keep going and I'll give you some stuff for free. Just keep moving. And so I guess that's one of the things that AirDrop we want to do is we want to help you got one friend, two friends, you're like, you know what, you're really, really into this. We're trying to find a way to give them an opening and welcome them into this wonderful world that is Web 3. That is the future, I think so.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of friends in the real world who
Yes,
are
yes, I
in
have friends.
Web3?
Thank you. Oh, no. Friends in the real world in Web 3. I would say no. I have friends. Just sometimes I'm
Yeah.
trying to get them on board. They make fun of me a lot for it's like, oh, see you bought another JPEG, and I was like, yes, I did some retail therapy. Thank you very much. Got myself some JPEGs. But
Yeah.
and I really am trying to like, how do I onboard these people? And there's certain, maybe you can talk about this. There's certain feelings that I have going through this process. Like, can you tell me about the first time okay, let's just talk about your Bitcoin monkey. For instance, it's obviously been your PFP for a while. What kind of feelings do you have when you look at it?
Um, I would say like I initially started buying NFTs because I was like, okay, like this is a good financial investment, I was like, okay, this is probably like this is a new technology. There's so much potential here. This is the way the world's going, right? A lot of us like I kind of like saw that potential, and so I was like, okay, let me invest. But then this weird thing happened is that
Mm-hmm.
once I bought my monkey, I liked it. And I'm like, I do not want to sell this thing, And that happened with a lot of my,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in a lot of the stacks community, so it's like Crash Punks or Indigo, all these like things I've collected. I'm like, man, like I like them, and if someone offered me, a pretty good offer, I'm like, no, like I need like I'm a Bitcoin monkey, And so
Yeah.
that was a big switch for me because, I was like, wow, like if like because then it became real,
Right.
where I'm like, okay, like there are, there is like a lot of like financial investing you can do in this space, but also there is this huge community aspect. And that moment when you're like, wow, like even if this is like worth a lot in USD or something like that, it's like this community is worth it to me that I don't want to give it up.
It's like the first time I got an NFT, I was like, you pick it out and you pick something you kind of like. I don't know. Did you mint one at first or did you buy one off secondary for your first NFT?
Um, my first one I minted,
You minted
but
your first one.
yeah,
Lucky.
but a lot of my first like couple NFTs, I was so bad at the mints, I would be on the whitelist and I couldn't figure it out, or like, I don't know, or I would miss it. So I've bought a
Yeah.
lot I bought a lot of them secondary. And now, now that I've been in stocks for a few months, I know, you're more familiar with how the whitelists work, how minting works and stuff like that. It gets easier and easier. So now I'm like, okay, like the mutant monkeys, I'm like, okay, I got that one. I did it. I did it right. I didn't mess up.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. That's yeah, it does take a little bit. The first couple interviews I got, there's a sense of pride almost when I was looking at them. There's a feeling there that I want to try to emulate for the new people we bring in, it's like I want them to look at their NFTs and feel a sense of pride. This is not only something that's a good financial bet, but it's also something that I like that will be hard to give up, which will I think will only increase the value as it goes up. But yeah, those are some things as we onboard people. I want to try to give them these certain feelings
Yeah,
that they have because that's the feelings are what sell people, and that's what
that's true.
we want to try to get in there.
Do you have a favorite NFT in your wallet?
Let me find my wallet. Do 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 do. Um, I think. All right, so like, I think my favorite NFT is probably. It's so funny. I look at them and I think about the stories. So, so for my Alaska one, I have Alaska number 18 from a Stax Photography Guild.
Oh, nice.
And so I was following along with Levi in the project, and I got in a whitelist, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm super pumped about this. And like he was talking about, hey, what do you want to see? And I was like, I want to see Northern Lights. I think that'd be so cool. And I happened to be at Harry Potter World when the mint went live, and I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
oh crap. Oh man, I need to get back to my hotel room ASAP. I did not think we are going to be out this long because I have my laptop all ready to go, and then it says I'm of course reading the Discord and everyone's getting them, and I'm like, oh my god, and there were only 20 of them, and there was enough whitelist for people on, or enough people whitelists for the number of people, so everyone should get one. And people were minting 2, and I was like, oh no, oh my gosh, and I'll call out Longstreet for getting 2 there. I don't blame him, but I was like, oh no, I'm gonna miss it. So I like rushed back to the hotel as fast as I could, pulled out my laptop, and I think I paid more than I should have in gas because I was like, I want this, and I will cut the
Yep.
line to make it happen. And so when I think about that, when I look at it, and I was like, oh, that's like I was in desperate straits for that one. And it's fun to be a part of the Stacks Photography Guild now as it's growing and it's moving. And Levi's out right now, about in the southwestern United States to shoot some more for the next collection, which I know a bunch of people are excited for, and I'm excited to see what happens there. For PFPs, I think I have a Project Indigo that I'm pretty proud of.
Nice.
And it's been fun watching that project grow. And I remember when Obsidian first showed me Project Indigo right before he was going to launch, and he was like, "Oh, this is going to be cool." And I was like, "I don't think I get it. Like, I'm a little confused." And I think that's a lot of people's new thoughts when they come to NFTs. It's like, I don't quite get this.
Yeah.
But then after we had the interview with him and we were talking through everything, and I was like, oh, wait, this is incredible. I want to be a part of this. And even though it's a slow build, I'm perfectly cool with it being slow because I know they're executing and the art's getting better. And he's working on the raid features are about to come out. And the storyline has been really cool to like play along with. And Longstreet's music. And so it's this whole big thing in the world they're building. And who knows how big it could get. I think that's kind of the crazy thing about this, because what was I listening to? I was listening to an interview with Carly Riley on Overpriced JPEGs, and she was talking to, I think it was Mark Zuckerberg's sister, whatever. But she was saying that in this industry, if we can make it till 2025, we will have made it. Like if you don't die before then, you'll be good. Because in the early startup days, or even the web, early Web 1 and Web 2, there was so many companies creating things, but no one knew what they quite needed yet. And so there's this little grace period that if we can pivot enough and make it, and we can like find our way through there in the next maybe 3 to 5 years, we will be golden. So with stuff like Project Indigo, I know like Nonish is there too. They're still building out like game type features. And some of these projects will go to zero, and that's okay. It's some to quote J.J. Abrams, it's like the people we meet along the way. It kind of the stories we have kind of make it worth it. But I'm excited to see where some of these projects go and how big they could get. I think Stacks, obviously, as it's continuing to drop in value as we're talking, which just means everything's on sale, people. Um, that there's still a lot of room to grow, and getting people in will be good. And I think right now it's a great entry point because Stacks is so cheap. So
That's true.
everybody call your
That's a
friends.
that's a good way to look at it, It's like, okay, like you can buy these, at a discount basically for your friends. So that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited about where all this goes, and it'll be a
Yeah,
good
the
time.
projects that are, consistent and steady in
Mm-hmm.
updating their communities on the value. I mean, Nonish and Indigo are like two great examples of that because they're consistently building and putting out stuff. And yeah, the sky's the limit, and the team is good and they keep delivering. So you know that like actual value is being created there, and I love to
Yeah.
see that.
Yes. What is All right, so let's go back to your book. You're writing a book? Question mark?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because I'm doing so many things, it's been a journey. Actually, in
Yeah, I bet.
last year, 2021, I rewrote my book 4 times because I've been revising it. And
Right.
I wrote like 500,000 words. It was insane.
Just gotta get
Usually in
them
the
out.
middle of the night. Yeah, usually in the middle of the night. And um yeah, but if you're passionate about something, like you won't make excuses. You'll find a way to do it. So
Come on now.
I'm passionate about it, and yeah, working hard. It's almost done. So very
Do you want
exciting.
do you want to give some spoilers? You definitely don't have to. Because I know as an artist you kind of want to keep that close to your chest, but what are you writing about?
Yeah, it is about, I don't have this like fleshed out cleanly, like a clean 1 or 2 sentences, but I can describe a little bit. Um, it's about a 17-year-old girl who sees the world through music, but it's prohibited by her narcissistically abusive parents.
Okay.
And so it's kind of about her navigating kind of like this life growing up with mentally ill parents. And then there's also like a I guess you would call it a fantasy aspect too, because half the chapters are written from her perspective, and half the chapters are like written from the perspective of a representation of like her guardian angels, basically.
Mm.
So it's been a lot of fun. I've never written something like a fiction novel before. Like it's a lot,
Yeah.
but I've learned so much in this process, and I want to keep doing it.
That's good. I mean, all writers have to write their first book. It's just how it
Yep.
works.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
I've also seen you've been writing on Seigel. Thoughts on Seigel? Go.
Oh, I love Seigel. I love what they're doing. They're another team that's consistently delivering new features and things like that. And as a writer,
Right.
that project really caught my eye, and it's cool. And I mentioned this on the Byzantine AMA too, but Seigel's like a company, and I can invest in that company by buying a JPEG. Like to me,
Mm.
that is so fun,
Mm.
And I'm like constantly giving feedback or being like, hey, like I would, thinking about my project and my use cases, this is where I'd like to see. And, it's cool that you can have such close contact and just jump on phone calls with the founders whenever. Like I've talked to Quentin and when in doubt a number of times of like, hey, actually, like this kind of like content would be cool, or could you guys do this and stuff like that, or where are you going? And yeah, they're a great team. So I have a podcast that I had started a while ago, and I'm working on transferring a lot of that content to Siegel because I think I just believe in what they're doing, and like the innovation that they have in the writing space.
Yeah, it is fun. They have a long way to go. They're still building. They're like, and like you said, they're a company. They're a startup putting things
Yeah.
together, boots on the ground. It's kind of funny because when we did their interview with them, and it's like they did the NFT project to get money, and then all of a sudden they had a community of people that wanted the NFT number go up I I want to see the number go up, and they're like, oh wait, we didn't plan for that at all. So they've had to pivot a lot and kind of, I want to say it's been a distraction for them in their building, and that's just a lesson that we all get to learn
Yeah.
from them. But now they're building in public, right? You can go in their Discord, request features. They have a vote up button for extra things you want. So I think it's cool to be able to just build out in the open like that. Is
Yeah.
there? Go ahead. You want to say something?
Oh no, you're good.
You've said awesome a lot. Is there anything that you're not liking in the NFT space? It's okay not to like things.
Hmm.
Little maybe wary things people should be wary of as they're new and coming in.
Uh, I would say I don't know if it's something that I don't like, but something I'd like to see more of.
Okay.
Is I would like to see more. I think that there's so much to the blockchain, right? And there's so much to what NFTs can be. And so, especially on stacks, like there's so much like great community and innovation. I think that we can continue to expand on different models of like what NFTs are. Like, how can we continue to tie these to, I don't know, like things in the real world? Or I don't know. I listen to the Proof podcast, and there's a number of good podcasts out there too, that kind of talk about how NFTs can flip industries on their heads,
Right.
or inside out. And I would just like to. I'm always down for a conversation on like how can we continue to innovate. Because to me the sky is the limit, and I just want to see new types of innovation.
Yeah, I think we're just beginning on what NFTs can do. Right. It starts with art,
Right.
and then it became like an asset, and then there's lots of other things that are happening with it. I'm excited to see real life things move in there. Like we even saw it like with the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if stuff like the Super Bowl, the World Cup went to like NFT tickets or something.
Yeah.
Something that big to make it happen where it's like, are you are you not going to go to the Super Bowl because you have to download a wallet? Like, no, if you're going to
Yeah.
go to the Super Bowl, you're going to go. You're going to figure out a way to make it happen. I
Yeah,
know.
it really is, a lot of these big whatever, whether it's events or artists or, companies, there's a lot of leverage with their fans. And yeah, I think that's definitely a way that we could onboard more people to the space or move more people in for sure.
Yeah, I will be surprised when it may be 5 years and maybe less, could be more, but like all artwork will have and it will have an NFT. Um,
Yeah.
that will be the actual thing that is traded more than anything else. And you'll get a physical copy if you want, but the real asset that is traded back and forth will be digitally stored on the blockchain. And I think it's
Yeah.
only a matter of time. We could
Yeah,
see
it's
that with
incredible.
jewels and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things. Um, but all right, cool. So your Web3 story, you're in it. You found it. How long have you been in for now?
Let me see. I would say since December, this past
Okay.
December, so like five
Is
or
is,
6 months.
is that NFT curious or is that having a wallet and making a purchase? Because those are two different things.
Yes. Like actually purchasing with my wallet, like late November, early December. And
Okay.
then I would say about a year ago was when I was like curious, and doing the research. And then probably like that for 6 months took me a while. And then, was actually able to start buying and getting my hands dirty.
In your personal opinion, how long do you think it takes for someone to really um, learn how to ride this bike with NFTs? Like
Ooh.
actually feel like they got the hang of it and they're not falling over every 5 seconds, or they aren't
That's a good
confused.
question.
Is that
I would
three
say it
months?
probably, yeah, I would say it probably took me 2 or 3 months. And I think, there's almost like two parts. If you're coming with no Web3 experience,
Mm-hmm.
to being like savvy enough to, hit your mints well. Because I think that first learning curve is um understanding, like, is just education, right? Like understanding, hey, like, what is the blockchain, what is an NFT, and what is the power here? Because people, like, once you understand, or you've done research on, wow, like, this has inherent value, then you're kind of over that first hurdle, and you're like, oh wow, this makes sense, and now I have a incentive to buy NFTs because I understand, you know some,
Yeah.
not that you have to understand everything, right? But like understanding those concepts. So I would say that even takes, a decent amount of research, and then you know between getting in the chats and setting up your wallet and meeting people, and once you have friends, that also really changes the game in the space too. But yeah, 2 to 3 months for sure, depending on how diligent you are, how much time you're putting in.
Yeah, there's definitely, I don't feel like even I've done a mint right yet. Like, if I'm
Yeah.
honest. Well, it's like you buy, there's like the things you see on Twitter from the eighth people, that it's like, all right, on mint day you buy three, you try to flip one pre-reveal, and then you hold one till the top, and then you hold one forever. And I still haven't gotten that down at all. We tried to do it with the Mega Kongs, and we were just aimed too high. But I mean, we got greedy. We were like, ooh, someone's gonna
Yeah.
buy this for 1 ETH. We have to try for it, and it didn't happen. But I mean, it's just it's all lesson learned, and it's 2020 hindsight. It's all right. Next time it goes around, how are we gonna do this? What's it gonna look like? So I mean, there's all big learning curves, and we've been in it since December. I mean, it's like getting a wallet, setting things up, and I'm still, what is it? So it's April, May. We're heading on 6 months. I feel good about it. I feel like I can navigate the space, but I still don't feel comfortable saying like, "Ooh, I've actually had like decent returns." And if somebody, again, this isn't happy hour. If you want to come talk, come on the stage. We'd love to hear from you. Crypto Boy, good to see you. Juliet, good to see you as well. Because this is all about this hour is supposed to be open, us hanging out, chit chatting, getting to know each other, getting to know the community. We have the podcast where we go in depth on projects that have already minted, where we can hopefully like learn from them. And then we started doing this new thing where we do a meet the team. We're doing more Twitter Spaces where we can learn about teams pre-mint, so we can all make judgments whether we trust them or not, because that's the big thing, right? Um, do we trust the team that's doing this? How do we avoid a rug? And we have these happy hours where it's just purely community based, hanging out, get to know each other's stories. I'm a big fan of stories. So, Zane, good to have you up, hanging out with us.
Hey there. How you guys doing?
How, good. How long have you been in this space?
Um, I kind of found out about Stacks a little by accident. I was kind of just looking through some articles on my phone, and I saw something about NYC Coin getting soon to be released. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. So I had to look into it a little bit, and then within a day, I kind of had a wallet set up, and I was getting ready to wait for the contract to get started, and then yeah, I've been in head on since then.
So, would you classify yourself as crypto native?
Define crypto native.
Oh, good question. I think crypto. Okay, so there are two types of people in the world: people that like Bruce Willis and people who don't. No, just kidding. Um, with crypto, there's either you're crypto native, so you've been investing in Bitcoin, ETH. You're probably a programmer trying to work with the blockchain, seeing what's new. You've maybe played with some altcoins,
Just
sent
starting it
some to
right
the
now.
moon. Maybe like I think about Mark from Megapod, and then we got rugged. I don't know what happened with Craig the bot, but this ends the happy hour. Show up next week, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Friday. We just want to hang out, learn your story, and together we can learn how to do these NFT thing. All right, peace.